Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Talk English, the place where we explore real topics, real facts, and real English for learners all over the world. I'm your host, Samuel.
And I'm Sofia. Thank you for joining us today for another informative and thoughtful episode. Whether you're listening to improve your English or to learn about global affairs, you're in the right place.
Today's topic is both timely and important. We'll be talking about the military power comparison between Iran and Israel. This is a subject that often appears in international news, politics, and security discussions. And today, we'll break it down in clear, simple English for you.
We'll look at both countries' military strength, their defense budgets, number of troops, air force capabilities, missile systems, cyber power, and even nuclear potential, based on up-to-date information from real reliable sources like the Global Firepower Index, CyPRI, and international defense reports.
This is not a political podcast. Our goal today is not to take sides, but to present facts that help you understand how these two nations compare in terms of military capabilities.
Also, if you're preparing for exams like IELTS or TOEFL, this episode will help you build vocabulary around military, international relations, and current events, all in easy-to-follow English.
So grab a notebook if you like, or just relax and listen. We've got a lot to cover. Let's begin our deep dive into the military power of Iran versus Israel.
Coming up next, we'll start with the basics, the geography and strategic importance of these two countries. Stay with us.
To begin this deep comparison between the military power of Iran and Israel, it is important to understand where these two countries are located and why their geographical positions matter so much in the context of global security, military planning, and regional influence. Geography has always played a key role in determining how nations build their armed forces, defend their borders, and respond to threats. Iran and Israel may differ greatly in size and terrain, but both are located in one of the most tense and complex regions in the world, the Middle East.
Let's start with Iran. Iran is a very large country located in Western Asia, and it shares borders with several other important nations, including Iraq to the west, Afghanistan and Pakistan to the east, and Turkey and Armenia to the northwest. To the south, Iran has long coastlines along both the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, which are extremely significant for international trade and naval strategy. Iran also touches the Caspian Sea to the north. With a total area of around 1.6 million square kilometers, Iran is the 17th largest country in the world, and its land is filled with diverse terrain such as tall mountain ranges like the Zagros and Alborz, large deserts, and rocky coastlines. This varied landscape affects how Iran builds and positions its military forces.
What makes Iran especially important in terms of military and geopolitical strategy is its control over the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow water passage between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. This strait is considered one of the most critical oil transit routes in the world, as about 20% of the global oil supply passes through it every day. This gives Iran significant influence because, in times of conflict or rising tensions, it can threaten to block or control the strait, which would affect energy prices and economies around the world. This is why global powers always pay close attention to Iran's military activities in the Persian Gulf.
Now let's look at Israel. In contrast to Iran, Israel is a very small country, with a total area of just over 22,000 square kilometers, which is roughly the same size as the U.S. state of New Jersey or the African country of Rwanda. However, despite its small size, Israel's location is extremely strategic. It lies on the eastern edge of the Mediterranean Sea and shares borders with several countries that have complex relations with it, including Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. It also borders the Palestinian territories of the West Bank and Gaza Strip, which are key areas of political and military tension.
Israel's position gives it access to the Mediterranean Sea, allowing it to maintain a powerful navy, connect with Western allies, and play an active role in the region's maritime security. In addition, because it is surrounded by countries that have experienced wars and conflicts in the past, Israel has developed one of the most advanced and responsive defense systems in the world. Despite its small size, it has built a powerful and modern military force capable of responding quickly to any threat from air, land, or sea.
Let's now talk about the size and structure of the military forces in both countries, starting with Iran. Iran has one of the largest military forces in the Middle East. According to the 2024 Global Firepower Index, Iran has approximately 610,000 active military personnel. This includes members of the regular army, known as the Artesh, and members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, which is a special branch of Iran's military that reports directly to the supreme leader rather than the elected government.
The IRGC is not just another military force. It plays a unique and powerful role in Iran's defense strategy and internal control. It was originally created after the Islamic Revolution in 1979 to protect the Islamic system and fight against internal and external enemies. Over the decades, the IRGC has grown into a multi-branch military organization that includes its own ground forces, air forces, naval forces, and even a space program and cyber warfare division. The IRGC also controls many of Iran's most advanced missile systems, and it supports foreign proxy groups in countries like Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, and Yemen.
Alongside the regular army and the IRGC, Iran also has the Basij, a volunteer paramilitary force made up mostly of civilians who are trained for internal security, protests, and emergencies. Estimates suggest that the Basij may have millions of part-time volunteers, though their combat effectiveness is much lower than the regular army or the IRGC. Still, in times of national emergency, the Basij could be mobilized to support Iran's military operations and public control.
In total, when you count the regular army, the IRGC, and the Basij, Iran could potentially mobilize over 1 million people during a serious conflict, making it one of the largest military manpower pools in the region. However, the question is not just about size. It's also about training, modern equipment, leadership, and technology.
Now let's look at Israel's military, which is smaller in numbers but very powerful in terms of technology, strategy, and capability. Israel has about 170,000 active military personnel, according to the 2024 reports. This includes the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, which is made up of the ground forces, the Air Force, and the Navy. In addition, Israel has around 465,000 reserve soldiers, which can be called to serve during times of war. Every Israeli citizen, male and female, is required to serve in the military for a few years once they turn 18, which means Israel has a very well-trained and experienced population of reserve soldiers.
The Israeli military is known for its high level of discipline, training, and coordination between branches. It is also famous for its focus on technology and innovation. Israel has developed some of the most advanced defense systems in the world, such as the Iron Dome, which can shoot down incoming rockets in the air before they hit civilian areas. It also has the David's sling and arrow missile defense systems, which are designed to protect against more advanced threats, like ballistic missiles and long-range attacks.
Israel also benefits from very strong international partnerships, especially with the United States, which provides Israel with billions of dollars in military aid each year, along with access to some of the most advanced military technology in the world. This includes fighter jets like the F-35, high-tech surveillance systems, satellite technology, and cyber defense tools.
So in summary, Iran has a much larger number of soldiers and paramilitary members, with deep influence from the IRGC and a strong regional presence through proxy groups. On the other hand, Israel's military is smaller in manpower but extremely advanced, with a world-class technology, strategic planning, and global partnerships that give it a major edge in high-tech warfare and air defense.
Coming up next, we will explore and compare the air forces, missile systems, and naval strength of both countries. And we'll also touch on their cyber warfare and nuclear capabilities later in the episode. Stay with us as we continue this important and eye-opening conversation.
Now that we've explored the geography, manpower, and structure of the militaries of Iran and Israel, it's time to dive into the technological backbone of both countries' armed forces. In modern warfare, having a large number of troops is no longer enough. Nations need cutting-edge air power, long-range missile capabilities, naval presence, cyber defense systems, and for some, nuclear deterrence to truly project power and defend their national interests.
Let's begin with one of the most critical components of modern defense, the Air Force. Air power is often the first line of offense and defense in today's conflicts, and both Iran and Israel understand the importance of dominating the skies. However, there is a major difference in capability and technology between the two.
Iran's Air Force, officially known as the Islamic Republic of Iran Air Force, ERIF, has been struggling for years with old and outdated aircraft. Many of Iran's fighter jets were purchased from the United States before the 1979 Islamic Revolution, including the F-4 Phantom, F-5, and the F-14 Tomcat. Because of international sanctions and limited access to parts, Iran has faced major challenges in maintaining and upgrading these jets. While the country has made efforts to locally produce aircraft, such as the Sayakeh and Kawsar, most military experts believe these jets are still far behind the fifth-generation fighters used by advanced nations.
On the other hand, Israel's Air Force is widely considered to be one of the most powerful and advanced in the entire Middle East, and even in the world. The Israeli Air Force, IAF, is equipped with a wide range of highly advanced fighter jets, including the F-15 Eagle, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and most notably, the F-35 Lightning II, also known as the Adir in Israel. The F-35 is a fifth-generation stealth fighter, capable of flying undetected into enemy airspace, gathering intelligence, and striking targets with precision. Israel was the first country outside the U.S. to receive the F-35, and it has already used it in combat situations, giving it a major edge over Iran's older air fleet.
In addition to its aircraft, Israel also operates some of the world's best air defense systems. The most famous is the Iron Dome, which can detect and intercept short-range rockets and missiles fired from nearby areas such as Gaza or southern Lebanon. The David's sling system provides medium-range defense, while the Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 systems can intercept long-range ballistic missiles, including those potentially launched from Iran. This multi-layered defense shield makes Israel extremely difficult to strike from the air.
When it comes to missile systems, both Iran and Israel have heavily invested in improving their capabilities. Iran has one of the largest and most diverse missile arsenals in the Middle East. It has developed and tested a wide range of short-range, medium-range, and even long-range ballistic missiles. One of Iran's most well-known missiles is the Shahab-3, which has a range of up to 2,000 kilometers, making it capable of reaching Israel and other targets in the region. Iran's missile program has been developed mostly in secret, and the country claims it can now produce precision-guided missiles and hypersonic weapons as well, though these claims are often debated by analysts.
Iran's strategy relies heavily on missile deterrence because of its weak air force. Instead of fighting a war with fighter jets and bombers, Iran has focused on developing missiles that can overwhelm air defenses and cause damage to enemy infrastructure, especially in case of a conflict with the U.S. or Israel. Some of Iran's missiles are also launched from mobile platforms, making them harder to detect and destroy before launch. Additionally, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, controls a large number of these missile units, giving Iran a flexible and mobile strike capability.
Israel, while it also has a missile program, focuses more on defensive systems and precision strike capabilities. It has developed surface-to-surface missiles, such as the LORA, long-range artillery missile, which can strike targets over 400 kilometers away with high accuracy. However, Israel does not rely on ballistic missiles the same way Iran does. Instead, it invests in high-tech intelligence, stealth technology, and surgical airstrikes that can take out threats before they grow.
Now let's talk about their naval forces. Iran's navy is divided between two organizations, the Islamic Republic of Iran Navy, IREN, and the IRGC Navy. Together they operate in both the Persian Gulf and the Caspian Sea. While Iran's navy lacks large modern warships, it has developed a strong asymmetrical naval strategy, using fast attack boats, mine-laying ships, submarines, and anti-ship missiles. Iran's goal is to threaten large naval forces like the U.S. Navy with swarm tactics and hit-and-run operations, especially in the narrow waters of the Strait of Hormuz.
Israel's navy is smaller but very advanced. It operates mostly in the Mediterranean Sea and includes powerful missile boats, corvettes, and submarines, including the Dolphin-class submarines, which are believed to be capable of launching nuclear-capable cruise missiles. These submarines are operated in secrecy and serve as Israel's second strike capability, meaning that even if Israel were attacked by a nuclear weapon, it could still respond using these hidden submarines. This gives Israel a powerful layer of deterrence.
Speaking of deterrence, we must now talk about cyber warfare, which is the newest and perhaps most silent battlefield. Both Iran and Israel have developed strong capabilities in cyber operations, and both have engaged in cyber attacks against each other and other nations. Iran has groups such as APT-33, APT-34, and Charming Kitten, which are believed to be state-sponsored hacker groups that target governments, oil companies, and infrastructure around the world. Iran uses cyber warfare to steal secrets, cause disruptions, and retaliate for sanctions or military actions.
Israel is considered one of the most advanced cyber powers in the world. The country's cyber unit, Unit 8200, is often compared to the U.S. National Security Agency. It is responsible for signals intelligence, cyber defense, and sometimes offensive cyber operations. One of the most famous examples of Israeli cyber warfare was the Stuxnet virus, developed together with the United States, which secretly damaged Iran's nuclear centrifuges in 2010. This attack delayed Iran's nuclear program for years and showed the world how powerful and precise cyber tools can be when used in modern conflict.
And now we arrive at one of the most sensitive and controversial areas of military comparison: nuclear weapons. Iran says that it does not have nuclear weapons, and that its nuclear program is only for peaceful energy purposes. However, many countries, including Israel and the United States, do not believe this, and they suspect that Iran has been working in secret to develop a nuclear bomb. Iran has enriched uranium to high levels in recent years, and although it still has not built a nuclear warhead, experts say it could be able to do so within months if it chooses to.
Israel, by contrast, has never officially confirmed or denied that it possesses nuclear weapons. However, it is widely believed that Israel has around 80 to 100 nuclear warheads based on expert estimates and leaked information. These weapons are kept in extreme secrecy, but they are believed to be deliverable by aircraft, missiles, and submarines. Israel's policy of nuclear ambiguity, not confirming but not denying, is meant to create strategic uncertainty for its enemies. This strategy, combined with its high-tech defenses and intelligence network, makes Israel a truly formidable military power.
So, when comparing both countries, Iran has size, manpower, missile strength, and regional influence, while Israel has technology, advanced defense systems, global partnerships, and likely a secret nuclear arsenal. Both countries are powerful in different ways, and any military conflict between them would be extremely dangerous and unpredictable.
In our final part of the podcast, we'll explore what this military balance means for the future of the Middle East, and whether diplomacy, deterrence, or confrontation will shape the next chapter. Stay with us as we conclude this powerful discussion. As we've explored in the past few segments, both Iran and Israel possess different but powerful forms of military strength, each built around their unique strategic needs, geopolitical realities, and ideological outlooks. But beyond missiles, jets, submarines, and cyber capabilities, an even more important question remains. What does the future look like for the Middle East? And what role will Iran and Israel play in shaping that future?
That's right, Sofia. The region has already witnessed decades of tension, covert operations, cyber attacks, and proxy battles involving these two nations. But despite all the confrontations, neither Iran nor Israel has ever entered into direct, full-scale war with one another. Instead, most of their conflict has taken place indirectly, through proxy groups, through regional influence, and through diplomatic maneuvers involving global powers like the United States, Russia, and the European Union.
One of the biggest factors shaping this military rivalry is the growing influence of proxy forces in the Middle East. Iran has close ties with groups such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen, and Palestinian factions in Gaza. Through these groups, Iran is able to challenge Israeli interests without launching a direct war. These proxies receive weapons, training, and financial support from Tehran, allowing them to act as Iran's extended arm in regional conflicts.
Israel views these groups as serious security threats, especially Hezbollah, which has a large arsenal of rockets pointed at Israeli cities. As a result, Israel has frequently carried out airstrikes in Syria and Lebanon to prevent Iran from transferring advanced weapons to these militias. These strikes are meant to contain Iranian influence and send a clear message: Israel will not tolerate Iranian expansion near its borders.
Now, when we look at the role of global diplomacy, the picture becomes even more complex. The United States has long been Israel's strongest military and political ally, providing billions of dollars in military aid each year and working closely on intelligence and defense technologies. On the other side, Iran has developed deeper relationships with Russia and China, especially as it has become isolated by Western sanctions. This global divide adds another layer of tension, as these alliances influence how far each country can go without triggering wider consequences.
One of the most important diplomatic efforts in recent years was the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the Iran nuclear deal, signed in 2015. Under the deal, Iran agreed to limit its nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions relief. However, in 2018, the United States withdrew from the agreement, leading Iran to gradually increase its nuclear activities again. Today, the talks to restore or renegotiate the deal remain uncertain, with Israel strongly opposing any deal that allows Iran to retain advanced nuclear technology.
The question many observers ask is, will diplomacy succeed, or will military confrontation eventually become unavoidable? Right now, both countries seem to be relying heavily on deterrence. Israel hopes that its technological edge, intelligence capabilities, and possible nuclear arsenal will prevent Iran from taking any direct action. Iran, on the other hand, continues to build its missile arsenal and regional alliances as a way of raising the cost of any potential attack against it.
And then there's the rising importance of cyber warfare, which is likely to play an even bigger role in the future. Unlike traditional war, cyber attacks can be launched in silence, without warning, and without borders. Both Iran and Israel have been accused of launching major cyber operations against each other's power grids, communication systems, and even nuclear infrastructure. The future battlefield may not be on the ground or in the air. It might exist in the digital space where damage can be done quietly and efficiently.
Despite all these tensions, many people around the world still hope for peaceful solutions, driven by diplomacy, negotiation, and a shared interest in avoiding a devastating war. The people of both Iran and Israel, ordinary families, students, workers, and children, ultimately want the same things: security, opportunity, and peace. While political leaders and military commanders make the decisions, it's the citizens who pay the price when conflict erupts.
So, what should we take away from this comparison? Iran has regional depth, a large population, a strong missile program, and growing cyber skills. Israel has technological superiority, a powerful air force, strong international alliances, and likely nuclear capability. Both are strong in their own ways, and both have made it clear that they are ready to defend their national interests at any cost. But with strength also comes responsibility. The responsibility to avoid unnecessary war, to seek peaceful solutions, and to ensure that future generations are not condemned to repeat the mistakes of the past.
That brings us to the end of today's episode of Real Talk English. We've tried to provide you with a balanced, fact-based comparison of the military power of Iran and Israel. Whether you're a student of international relations, a passionate follower of global affairs, or someone simply trying to improve your English, we hope you learned something new. Not just about military power, but about the complex forces that shape our world.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to Real Talk English, share it with your friends, and leave us a comment. We love hearing from our global audience. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and as always, keep learning.